Done? These are bare minimum components that I expect you to remember for the sake of examination. And we have done already how the Himalayas are formed. We also got to know how your northern plains are formed. Quickly tell me how northern plains are formed. Northern plains are formed because of the report deposits, right? 4 deeps. In fact, 4 deeps that we have discussed yesterday. Coming to the desert, how did the formation of desert took place? Okay? This is what I'll be explaining today. And before that, once let's look into the life forms and the socio-cultural aspects of the Himalayas and the settlement of Himalayas. Okay? See, we have already learnt about these Himalayas, and the Himalayan divisions I can also take on the basis of the rivers as well. So yesterday I also told you about few rivers. Those rivers are? Yes, tell me the names of the rivers. First river is Indus River. Where does it originate? Mansarovar. On the other side, you also have a river, Brahmaputra. Then you have Ganga. This is your Satluj. Okay, I'll take off Ganga. This is your Satluj and this is your Kali. This is your Teesta. Okay? The name of the mountains, these are called as Kashmir Himalayas. These are called as Kumaon Himalayas. And the Central Himalayas, Assam Himalayas, and the Purvanchals. In totality, these are the divisions. See, the entire Himalayas can be divided into, number 1, like this. First thing, these are called as Western Himalayas, and these are called as Eastern Himalayas. Now, you take a couple of minutes time and tell me, we have learned so much about Himalayas in the last few days. What is the fundamental difference between the Western Himalayas and the Eastern Himalayas? चलो, शौर्या ने मुझे बताया सर आइस कैप्स का हाइट जो है लोअर है वेस्ट वाले साइड एंड ठीक है, अग्रीड. नेक्स्ट, टेल मी द फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस बिटवीन Eastern Himalayas and Western Himalayas. And what are the life forms? How does the people live? Where do you get more sunlight? Very good. See here, firstly, the questions are not just asked on Himalayas. Sometimes if the Himalayan questions are asked, they will also be asking about tribal communities. Okay? You now know the Himalayas in Kashmir, they are called as Lesser Himalayas, they are called as Pir Panjal. Now, the communities which are living in these Himalayan regions, they are called as transhumans. Usually, you go to the either Greater Himalayas or Lesser Himalayas in Kashmir and Uttarakhand and Himachal, people or the communities there, they keep on moving from one place to another place. Likewise, look, you have a mountain here, you also have a mountain here. If suppose this is your equator, right? This is the Western Himalayas, this is Eastern Himalayas. Now you tell me, who is present near to the equator? Now who will receive more sunlight? That means Eastern Himalayas are receiving more sunlight. Here, less sunlight. Right? Sunlight is considered to be the primary source of energy. If suppose, just imagine I'll shut down the sun for 6 months. What happens? Temperature will be 0. Photosynthesis, the life forms which are there, they are primarily dependent on the sun just to make the energy out of it. If suppose sun itself is not there, plant cannot make any food. When plants are not there, honeybees can't be there. When honeybees are not there, flowering can't be there. When the plant cannot grow well, of course, then the species, the major heavy species which are there, bovine species, they won't be there. Now to hunt, there won't be lion, there won't be tiger, or there cannot be any higher prey. That means sun is the primary source. Here you need to understand one thing. If the sunlight is less here and the sunlight is more here, who will have good vegetation? Eastern Himalayas. Who will have less vegetation? Western Himalayas. Now, plantations. What kind of plantations will you have? That also you need to look into. What kind of lifestyles you have? That also you need to look into. Right? So on the eastern side, the tribal communities are different, and on the western side, the tribal communities are different. The western side tribal communities are having different names. Now these tribal communities which are living in the higher regions of the mountains, they have a peculiar habit. What is this peculiar habit? If suppose, let's take the western, if this is a mountain, okay? During the times of winter, the snow will start from the lower end, right? You go to Shimla also you will get to see the snow. Same way, you go to the Western Himalayas, the snow will start in the month of December from Shimla itself. What is the height of Shimla? Just 2,700, 600 meters itself. That is the height, not more than that. It is 2,300, that is the meters. Even at this height, you are getting to see the snow. But if I have the same mountain here on the eastern side, at 2,300 meters, I don't get to see the snow. Why? More sunlight is there. Right? So, look. First thing, if suppose, if I start to climb here, and if I start to climb here, where do I find snow first? On the eastern side or western side? Now, can I say that the snow line is lower on the Western Himalayas? Yes, the snow line is higher on the Eastern Himalayas. So the first point that you need to keep in your mind is, when you look into the Himalayas of the east and the west, if suppose this is the base, this is your Western Himalayas and this is your Eastern Himalayas. Usually the height of the Himalayas in the east is not too tall. Chalo. That means on one, here, first thing. Now, yes, that is environmental angle that we look into. So fundamentally, first itself snow line is higher here, snow line is lower here. Now here sunlight ज़्यादा है. Look, when it comes to the vegetation, see here you will have the vegetation to be of directly temperate vegetation देखने के लिए मिलता है. Mean, chir, oak, pine, these trees. But here, the lowermost regions, you will find the vegetation to be tropical. Tropical vegetation means जितने भी vegetation है tropical areas में, they can be evergreen vegetation also, there can also be deciduous vegetation. Evergreen means at any given point of the time the forest looks like this. In the evergreen forest, suppose if this is the tree, this is a big tree, then you have a lower layer, this is A layer, you will have a B layer, then you have a C layer, or likewise you will have some creepers creeping on them. Then you will also have an other layer. So when you are watching this evergreen forest, for this evergreen forest, firstly the rainfall should be very high. ठीक है? Is it that evergreen forest they do not shed their leaves? They shed their leaves, but at one or the other point of time, either one of these forests, one of these trees, they'll always look green. They'll not shed their leaves at the same time. So these kind of evergreen forest you can find on the eastern side, but you may not find it here. Okay? Logically, if you look into, there is near about snow time period for 5 months of snow can be there in the higher Himalayas when you go to the top. पहले एक fundamental logic बताओ मुझे, why does tree shed its leaves? Why does tree shed its leaves? Basically, when there is not enough amount of water that is there, if tree is shedding its leaf, don't you think it needs more energy to bring back its leaves? And to make that, to get that energy, what does it need? Sunlight, right? So you go to northern regions, go to near to the polar region, the tree will not shed its leaves. Why, you know? Because tree ko pata hai, if I am going to shed my leaves, I only have 3 or 4 months of good sunlight, and in that 3 or 4 months of sunlight, I cannot grow well. So rather, what does the tree do, you know? It will shed down its activity. Shed down its activity means it will keep its leaves and it will convert that leaves into needles-like structures. Okay? You go to, have you seen pine tree? How many of you have seen? Everyone. This pine tree, it looks like needles. The characteristics of the pine tree is because of this temperature which is present here. So, I hope most of you have seen this. Okay? So there are no leaves, they are actually needles. So this particular tree got to adapt over a period of time, from thousands and lakhs of years. This particular tree adapted to that climate, that I'm not going to shed my leaves, rather I'll not grow during the times of winter. Whenever winter comes, it will not grow, it will be stand still. As soon as the sunlight comes, it will start to grow again. So these are sun-loving plants. So such kind of forest you will find here. Why? Because they cannot afford to lose their leaves. But there's good amount of sunlight here. These forests are tropical in nature. Tropical forest होता है. यहाँ पे temperate forest है. Temperate forest means chir, oak, pine. Tropical means here, yes, evergreen tropical भी हो सकता है, semi-deciduous forest भी हो सकता है. ठीक है? Chestnut, these kind of plants can be there. Now, where do you find the temperate forests? The temperate forests are found a little higher. Like this. This is temperate forest. Imagine this is 2000 meters height and this is also 2000 meters height. But on the eastern side you are getting to see tropical vegetation. On the western side you are getting to see temperate vegetation. That means at same height you might see snow during the times of winter. There is no snow there. Now I'll come to animals. Tigers. Tigers can be there in the tropical forest. Tigers are absent in the temperate forest. Right? So, whenever you have tigers being present in the tropical forest, tiger is considered to be a very good animal. Okay? When tiger is there, tiger will take care of the forest. It will make sure the population of the deers is not increased. And it will eat and it will try to protect the forest. Tiger ka kaam, jungle ka raja lion hai, but tiger is the protector of the forest. One is the king, other one is the protector. Now, how does tiger protects? It keeps a check on the balance of the population and it demarcates the territory. It will make sure no one else comes into the territory. Poaching may not be that easy if the tiger is present. So if tigers are present, what does tiger will eat? Deers, cheetal, maybe other bovine species which are there. Now that bovine species will be present only when you have grass. Right? That means tropics mein such kind of animals will be there. But here, do you find tiger? No tiger. Then what kind of animals do you find? Leopards can be there. Snow leopards can be there. But current affairs mein this year we got to see for the first time tigers entered into this. When tigers come here, the monkeys will go mad here. They have never seen such kind of a species. Monkeys are considered to be signaling species. What do? You know, they make a very funny sound when they see a danger. So as soon as they see a tiger here, they go mad. Now when tigers enter into this ecosystem, tiger had a food here. What kind of food? Deer. Deer is present because the tropical vegetation is there. Now just imagine the tiger came into this ecosystem. What kind of disturbances will you see on the wildlife? फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ का राजा कौन है? स्नो लेपर्ड है. अगर स्नो लेपर्ड की इलाका में इफ टाइगर इज गोइंग, डोंट यू थिंक दे विल फाइट विथ ईच अदर? द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ स्नो लेपर्ड इज हार्डली limited. Tiger population is more. Tiger is more powerful animal. It will start to kill that snow leopard. अब snow leopard का काम कौन करेगा? This tiger, do you think it can sustain here? It will take thousands of years for the sustenance. Right? So, it is very important for us to protect and demarcate our forests as well. The western and eastern Himalayas, fundamentally, you find temperate vegetation at the lower and absence of the tropical vegetation. Here you find tropical, temperate, again snow line, after that the grasslands, meadows, like that. So here, as you go more higher and higher here on the western Himalayas, you will find on the top there are some grasslands. Okay? Then here you find here is the place where you find some grasses. Again, you will find higher tropical species. Oh, sorry, higher temperate, not tropical. And here you will find grasses. Now the grasses here are given a unique name. These are called as meadows. Now what is the name given to this meadows? Bugyals. Now who stays in Bugyals? It is Gaddis. And in Uttarakhand, Bhotias. In Himachal and Kashmir, it is, this is in Himachal. Uttarakhand. This is in Kashmir also. Right? So, meadows दिखते कैसे हैं? This is how your meadows look. So, what kind of species will you find here? Bovine species only. Grass eating species. That's why cattle will be there. People who live there, they are mostly cattle rearing population. So one of these populations, current affairs mein, for this year, I want you to remember, and please go home and read about their population is reducing. Now, why their population is reducing and why are they moving away from their profession? See, earlier, the main work of the Gaddis and the tribal community is they go along with the sheeps. Okay? Where do they raid the sheeps? At this height. Snow will be there. And this is also the place where snow leopard will be there. Snow leopard will come and hunt their species. But it's part and parcel. They are okay with that. So during the summers, they go to higher heights. Imagine this is their house. Okay? They build their house summers, higher regions. But as soon as the winter comes in, this is completely filled with the snow. Now they build their house at the lower areas. Now those people who move to the higher heights, maybe this height is somewhere around, let's imagine that this is 3,000 meters and this is 4,000 meters or so, right? So that means those people who are moving to higher altitudes and towards the lower altitudes, they are called as transhumans. So can I call these tribal communities as transhumans? So these are the three major transhuman communities which are there in India, and especially for this year, Bakkarwals are very, very important. Gaddis are important because the total population of this particular community, it is getting reduced. Why is it getting reduced? Climate change. Why? Because the time period of the snow is increasing. Sometimes extreme heat is not letting the grass to grow that easily, as well as excessive rainfalls, landslides, snow coverage. It is creating a lifestyle problem to them. Now these people, you should not just imagine as one mountain. Imagine there are thousands of mountains. Now their primary work is what? To move from one place, from one place to another place, like this on the mountains itself, they keep on moving. Have you heard of climate change and glacier melting? Because of the glacier meltings, if suppose there is a glacier which is present on the higher altitudes, who will be the first? Don't you think that their lifestyle and they get accidents in the recent times, more prone to accidents? One, accidents in the Himalayas are causing their population to be lowered. And one more thing, because of the heat and excessive cold, the cattle population is not in a position to sustain. Reproduction rate thoda kam ho gaya. So their main business is what? Cut down the wool of this cattle and then sell it. Now that business is not in a sustainable manner, so that's why they are leaving their profession. Yes, livelihood is missing. So that's why examiner might like somewhere, he might link with this particular content, this content, and mix somewhere this, and they'll ask you, आपको ये लगता है यार गड्डीज तो करंट अफेयर्स में है, बकरवाल्स तो करंट अफेयर्स में है, but they might link up with, are they present in the eastern Himalayas or western Himalayas, like that. So you need to have the difference as well. Vegetation, snow leopards, there are no tigers here. Tigers are on the east. I'm talking about the Himalayan tigers. Himalayas में eastern side, western side में tigers है ही नहीं, right? For the first time we got to see only in Himachal Pradesh. Jim Corbett में it is not in Himalayas, no. Jim Corbett is in Uttarakhand. Clear with this? Yes. Temperate के ऊपर tundra taiga. Vegetation you are talking about. This is higher temperate. ठीक है. Then you have grasslands or meadows, tundras, taigas. Those are the vegetations that you will get to see. हाँ, top में यहाँ से snow line मान के चलो. This is completely full of snow. So this is called as snow line. Or else sometimes in the winters you will find the snow here itself. So that's why people move. And this Bhotias Uttarakhand में है. Gaddis, Bakarwals, उसके अलावा कई सारे ऐसे tribes हैं. And one more interesting fact here is, if you go to Kashmir region, ठीक है, only in Kashmir, you get to see a unique cultivation that is being done here. Usually in the western part of the Kashmirs, here saffron cultivation is done. Now the place where saffron cultivation is done, these places are called as Karewars. ठीक है. Now what is a Karevar? Karewars are nothing but lacue shrine deposits. Lacue shrine deposits. Yes? समझ नहीं आया. Karewars. K-A-R-E-W. K-A-R-E-W-A-R-S. Karewars. Karewars are the lands. And here you have lacue shrine deposits. Now what are lacue shrine deposits? Imagine, done. Let's imagine that this area is full of glaciers, right? Yes. Now this area is full of glaciers. Glaciers will also slide. Glaciers will also move. This is full of glacier. Because of climate change, imagine these glaciers have moved downward and they got melted. And imagine this part of the area, maybe this part of the area is now a plain area. Because of the river, if there is a river that is moving in whatever the direction it is, for some reasons, if this area is converted into a plain area or a cultivable area, the deposits which are made because of the glacier, when a glacier moves, suppose if this remote is trapped under a glacier, when the glacier moves, don't you think that this remote will also move along with it? Right? Now instead of this remote, imagine there is a big rock that got trapped, and that rock, while it is moving, it gets rubbed beneath, right? And small deposits will be formed. Tillate deposits, or the small deposits, These deposits are called as lacustrine deposits. Basically, lakes of glaciers which are there you will get. ये मान के चलो that area turned out to be little plain area, or else that area turned out to be a cultivable area where soil formed, and in this place you will have very fertile lands, very, very fertile lands. Even if you have a one single acre, you can earn near about 25 lakhs per year, 30 lakhs per year. You are a rich farmer in the Kashmir. Kashmir is one such area where the highest income of the farmers is there, apart from Punjab. ठीक है? You guys are a rich fellows. ठीक? Punjab farmer, he gets near about 27,000 on an average per acre on a minimum scale, each farmer earns. But you go to Telangana, 9,000 rupees. You go to Jharkhand, 14,000 rupees. You go to the Maharashtra, the cost of the farmer, or else the farmer income average, if you take it out, it is less than 12,000, 10,000, 6,000, 8,000. Right? But states like Punjab and states like Kashmir, now it's a union territory, they earn the highest. Why? Because in the Kashmir, you find what cultivation is done here? So these are the saffron cultivations. ठीक है? Native है इंडिया का. Saffron cultivation is very native to India, which is done only in Kashmir, because saffron cultivation के लिए थोड़ा plain area चाहिए और deposits चाहिए glacier का, क्योंकि glacier में calcium ज़्यादा होता है, right? Good amount of calcium is there, and conducive environments like neither snowing nor raining, a decent moisture चाहिए, and this moisture is given by clouds when they go and touch with the mountains. That moisture is given not as a rainfall, but ऐसा लगता है ना धुंध, right? Fog जैसा. That kind of environment is required, and you have all of this in the Kashmir. So this saffron cultivation is done there. Now, no other parts of the India the natural saffron is cultivated. Other areas it is lab cultivated. So this is more costlier than gold. You know, if 10 grams of gold, if you equate, and 10 grams of this saffron you take, it is more costlier. Okay, that's it. This is what is Karevar, which you will get to see on the western side, and the eastern side also you will have some basic Karevars, but there are not many good enough amounts of plain areas in the eastern side जहाँ पे इस टेम्परेचर के साथ है, तो इसीलिए ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न हिमालयास में इनकम का भी फर्क है. और एक और चीज, व्हेन इट कम्स टू सेटलमेंट, ठीक है, लेट्स इमेजिन द सेटलमेंट्स. If you are given an option to settle, where will you go and settle? How many of you want to go and settle at E and D? Raise your hands. ठीक है. Anyone other than E and D? Where? B, C. ठीक है. F. Yes? Anyone? G and H? So basically, whosoever said E and D, their lives are easier, and whosoever goes and settles on the top, your lives are very tough. Flooding का दिक्कत होता है, no doubt. But see, there is a fundamental difference between the settlements on the eastern Himalayas and western Himalayas. Look here, this kind of settlements. Now she said a very good logic, flooding का दिक्कत होता है, but not all the Himalayas are flooded. Not all the Himalayas will have, जैसे हर concern is she'll stay at E when there is no river, मैं valley में रहता हूँ. This is also a good option. This is a far better option. ठीक है, these two. You look into western Himalayas, most of the settlements are here, in the valley settlements. People would like to live in the valley. But whereas if you go to the eastern Himalayas, the settlements are usually settled on the top. Why? Because in the eastern Himalayas, especially Nagaland, there is a culture of headhunting. And here, people who are staying in the valley, they'll have very good rainfall. Now, because of that rainfall, everyone wants to go and settle next to this valley itself. But here, if you're staying somewhere to the valley, your fellow tribes who are there on this mountain, they come and attack, and they wanted to claim your head and show their masculinity. Because Nagaland used to have, not now, Nagaland used to have headhunting as their one of the tradition, in that to be proven as a head of this particular clan, you have to go and get the head of, to be proven as a head of this, you have to go and get the head of other clan. Now these traditions were there even till 1980s, 90s. Okay? So that's why people who are living in the eastern Himalayas, they are more worried about their lives, and they feel that if you are staying on the higher hills, you have security. Because staying in the valley, you can be attacked. Staying on the higher heights, you have the height ground. Agar yahan se koi aa raha hai, so you can throw a big boulder. That is done. On a fun note, whatever it is, but here, this is the security features are taken into consideration. But on the western Himalayas, it is the settlements are always there on the valleys. Completely valley settlements are there. You go to any place, whatever the place it is, always the settlements will be in the valleys itself. Can you see? This is Joshimath. This is a river. Now, where are people present? Are they living in the valley or on the top of the hill? No, this is valley, no? This is top of the hill. If this is a mountain, this is top. Okay? So people are preferring to live near to the valley, next to the valley. Go to Shimla. Okay? Shimla is overpopulated, so everyone wants to go and live. Even settlements are always within the valleys itself. So valley-based settlements are easy to live. Okay? But this you will not get to see on the eastern side. Why? It's the cultural settlements that are there. These are valley-based settlements. Those are cultural settlements. Like this, you go to any place and you check any valley, the settlements will be there. But again, you go to the northeastern area, the beauty of the northeastern area is that river plays a vital role in your settlements. Now, river playing a vital role of settlements means these are mountainous areas. Same is the case, other than Nagaland, most of them would like to settle in the valleys itself. Valley settlement is easier life. Right? This is one more example that you can add. Clear? Yes. Next. These are the fundamental differences between Eastern Himalayas and Western Himalayas. Any doubts which you got here? I'll be moving towards the deserts, the formation, and the other aspects. Temperate ke above, you'll find Eastern Himalayas. Whatever the vegetation that you're going to see on the Western Himalayas, above temperate, similar kind of vegetation you will get to see here. Then meadows are present here. Okay? High temperate. And then snow line. That means the snow line here, instead of 4,000 meters, it might find at 4,500 meters. The snow line is always higher. Usually 3,000 pe mil jata hai, summer, winter and all. But it will 3,000, 4,000 meters, there you will get to see the snow. Northeast maybe, देखो, people always prefer to be in valleys. ऐसा नहीं है. Northeast maybe there are many cities which are living in valleys. But issue is that in the Northeast, most of them would like to stay on the top of the hills. Because they have seen cultural fights. In the West, it is not like that. Fundamentally, अगर differentiate किया जाए, if you ask me what is the difference between the left row and right row, I'll say that on the right row the population is less, on the left row the population is more. This is how I differentiate, right? On a broader level. ऐसा नहीं है people are absent in the valley. Valley में people है, but comparatively most of them wants to settle on the higher heights due to security reasons. Now quickly come back to our next physiographic region, that is your grasslands. कैसे form होता है ऊपर? See, for this you need to understand little environmental connections. If suppose you have good water and good water and good sunlight, your plants will convert into trees, right? If you do not have good sunlight, the height of the plants will be lower, or else if there is a tree, the tree will be behaving in a different manner. It will have blue color leaves, red color leaves, green. Instead of green, it will start to utilize a different kind of pigment to make its food. Grasses are present usually in those areas where the availability of water will be less. You'll also have birds, animals moving from one place to another place. These birds, what do? They bring the seeds and they throw it onto the Himalayas. The beauty of the grasslands is that grasses, they store their seeds during the times of winter with them. They don't die. They actually store underground. Okay? During the times of winter, your entire grass is filled with snow, almost half a feet snow. Then the grass should die, right? Because there is no sunlight. Grasses also over a period of time, they have also adapted. The adaptation is like that. They store the life in the seed under the ground. For 6 months, they'll clear off all the leaves, that is grass leaves, needles. And after 6 months, as soon as the sunlight is back, they get a sufficient amount of moisture and they regrow to start. And जहाँ grasses है, वहाँ पे बकरवाल्स है. Now, when there is snow for 6 months, where is the soil getting its nutrition from? It should get its nutrition from elsewhere, no? Else the soil is damaged. Decomposition is not happened. It is basically the Bakarwal community who take their cattle, hundreds and thousands of sheep along with them. The dung of the sheep, the dung of the cows, the dung of the horse. This is what is the manure of the Himalayas. ठीक है? Just I'll show you ताकि भूल ना जाए. Yes. These are all Himalayas. Isn't there a very beautiful relationship between this cattle, Himalayas and the grasses? Right? So during the winter, this is full of snow. Now grasses, what did they learn? They learned to store their life in the seeds under the soil. They shed their metabolic activity. Now after 6 months, again these people will come to higher heights. Earlier they used to live at lower heights, go down maybe 1 to 2 kilometers. Cattle आ गया, cattle के साथ साथ their food came, that is nitrogen, one of the finest food. So through that, sunlight is there, moisture is there, then you have a beautiful life forms here. So it is more of how you imagine geography content and environment content. So life is little easier for you as compared to students who were there 5 years before. They never got an opportunity to see all of these things. They had to imagine. The imagination, somewhere it goes, and then with that imagination you go and write. So that was a problem. But now things are little easier. These are glaciers. ठीक है? इस glaciers के नीचे don't you think that there are rocks, lacustrine deposits आते रहते हैं? That is all. चलो. माउंटेन्स पे बीच बीच में प्लेन्स भी होता है. रिवर डज दैट वर्क. टाइम इज 6:30, वेट टिल 7:30, you'll get it. ठीक है? We'll after 20 minutes we'll do the activity of the river. ठीक है? Somewhere around. Now quickly come to the first. We'll do the Deccan Plateau. How this Deccan Plateau formed. Right? After that we'll go to deserts. चलो. Open your atlas. Find out Deccan Plateau. In your whosoever is having TTK atlas, in the page, in the first map itself, you'll have the physiography regions given in a very detailed manner. This. Okay, if you have TTK atlas, it is little dilapidated state. Page number 15 or 14. Or else, if you have any other atlas, just look into the first physical map of India. Right? Look here, this part of the area. This is called as Deccan Plateau. Right? Yes. This is called as Deccan Plateau. Now Deccan Plateau, how does it looks? It looks like this. This is plain area. If suppose this is a plateau area, right? Plateau is a raised land which is a plain area. Then if you look, this is a mountainous area, right? This is a valley, right? Depressions. So that means we are talking about how did this kind of landforms form in India. Okay? Especially, your Deccan Plateau is also called as Deccan Traps. Okay? Now, what is this trap? Trap means, initially during the times of formation of this Deccan Trap or Deccan Plateau, there are stepped kind of landforms which are formed. Today, when you look into the Deccan Plateau, or else this entire area, this part of the area, I'll call this as a plateau, a raised landmass. Average height is more than 300 meters, 400 meters tak jata hai. That means, if suppose a person who is standing here, for him the Deccan Plateau will look like, arey yaar, what is that? A cliff that is there. So let's try to understand this. So how many plateaus are there in a Deccan Plateau? One. Maharashtra Plateau, Telangana Plateau, Karnataka Plateau. Also, please go to your atlas and find Raj Mahal Hills. It will be here. कल हमने किया था ना, यहां पर मिलता है आपको. They are also called as Raj Mahal traps. Right? Yes, similar kind of formation. These are also called as Deccan traps. And please also go and find out the Lakshadweep Islands. I call the Raj Mahal Hills, the Deccan Plateau, and the Lakshadweep are brothers and sisters. Okay? First, this formed, followed by this, and followed by this. Right? How did the formation took place? Let me try to explain. There was a time period, aaj se near about 250 million years ago. Where was India? Right? India was somewhere in the what was this? I'm talking about 250 million years ago. India was present somewhere in the southern part of the hemisphere, and if this is your equator, this was your USA. Right? And this was your Eurasia. Right? It took near about few millions of years for India to move and then collide with the Eurasia. And this is how, when these two collided with each other, the formation of Himalayas took place. But even before the formation of the Himalayas itself, the formation of Deccan Plateau has taken place. Deccan Plateau includes what? Maharashtra Plateau, Telangana Plateau, Karnataka Plateau. Or these are Eastern Ghats. This part of the region, usually the problem with this region is resources good. Okay? But utilization of the resources थोड़ा करंट कंटेक्स्ट में और डायनामिक एस्पेक्ट्स के साथ पढ़ लेते. सी, बिकॉज क्वेश्चंस आर नॉट जस्ट कन्फाइंड ओनली टुवर्ड्स द फिजियोग्राफी, समटाइम्स द क्वेश्चंस आर आल्सो आस्क्ड फ्रॉम करंट अफेयर्स. एक करंट अफेयर दैट आई वांटेड टू लिंक इज, प्लीज गो होम एंड लुक फॉर मेडिगड्डा प्रोजेक्ट. MEADIGATTA और एल्स मेडिगड्डा, Medigatta. Look at this current affair. Medigatta, permanent repairs likely to be done after January. Vigilance probe holds L&T responsible for Medigatta barrage. Medigatta barrage damaged portion can't be repaired, says dam body. This was 9th May. Again, it was there in 20 January. And here, 4 days before. That means this is seen continuously, right? So examiner will identify these kind of places. Sometimes they might ask you as a map. So we need to look out from the mapping angle as well. Why is this Medigatta in news? What is the reason for the Medigatta issue? It also has a relationship with the geography as well. So let's try to understand. I hope यहाँ पे कोई doubt है. So there was a time period where India was once part of the southern part of the region, and this India started to move towards the north and started to come. So that means India was present here, and then it started its journey. It took how many years? 250 million years to come to this place. And then both the plates collided with each other. Finally, the formation of Himalayas took place. But even before India started to cross the equator, here, if this is your equator, there was a place, or else, sorry, it is somewhere here. Today, this is called as the place where Reunion Islands are there. Okay? Now, where do you find these Reunion Islands? Currently, Hawaii kahan hai yaar? Hawaii Islands are in USA. So this is where the Reunion Islands are. ठीक है, छोटे छोटे आइलैंड्स दिख रहे हैं ना, ये सब Reunion Islands है. Now this was the place where a hotspot was present. ठीक है, I hope everyone knows what is hotspot. Let me once give you a quick glimpse of it. If this is the surface of the earth where you are staying, and this is the core, and this is the outer core. So yesterday I told you that a hotspot is something the volcanic material can come and puncture the landmass. If that volcanic material, wherever the convectional cell is absent, and if that volcano is there, this is called as a hotspot, and sometimes it is present in the form of, say it loud, mantle plume. कल ही तो बताया था. So this mantle plume, now this mantle plume can be active for some time, cannot be active for some time, right? Maybe for few hundreds of years this mantle plume is active, and few hundreds of years the mantle plume may not be active. So during the time of the India's journey from southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, this India came under one of this volcano. Imagine this is the hotspot, right? So this hotspot, will it not puncture the landmass and then come out in the form of volcano on either sides. The first set of puncture happened and it started to pour out here on India. And this turned out to be Rajmahal Hills, or it is also called as Rajmahal traps. Plume समझते हो ना, mantle plume. Mantle plume is, it is for some time all of a sudden the volcanic activity starts to come out, and if it starts to come out, it will be there for another maybe few hundreds of years, right? After that the plume might be calm again and the volcano will be calm again, right? So once this eruption took place, the first set of mountains that you got to see, that is Rajmahal traps, have been formed. Again, India started to move further, but the hotspot will be in the same position. Imagine this is the frontal portion of India and this is the backward portion of India. That means first, if this is a hotspot, it came and it erupted volcanoes. This turned out to be Rajmahal traps. But India again went further, and here you got to see another set of mountains. And this set of, not mountains, this is the other set of rising of the volcanic activity. This we call it as Deccan traps. Now, the place where Deccan traps was there, Deccan traps, or this is the place where the volcanoes started to outpour. See, the volcanoes started to outpour like this. And here, highest activity of volcanic activity you got to see. And this is what turned out to be your Deccan traps. Now don't just think that एक volcano है यहाँ पर. There could be thousands and lakhs of छोटे छोटे volcanoes that could have been erupted, and they started to pour that volcano every day for hundreds of years. Later, again, India moved a little further. When India moved little further, this part of India came under the influence of hotspot from beneath. But what happened here was, if this was your ocean, here the volcano started to pour out, and the landform started to form like this. Maybe from here also the volcano started to pour, but these land masses, they did not rise above the water. Why? Because as soon as the volcano comes underneath the water, it gets cooled quickly, right? So that's why the cooling was very fast, and there are multiple small vents which started to come out, and these vents, they did not, some islands came above the surface and some islands did not come above the surface. And today, after few thousands of years or lakhs of years, what happened here is the coral reefs started to form here, right? Now this became your most of the islands of Lakshadweep, they are actually under the water. And what is the depth of this water? Not more than 10, 20. Some areas it is 5 meters, some areas 20 meters. So when you have such kind of landforms and the depth is not more than 100, 150, 200 meters or 10, 20 meters, if there is good amount of sunlight, can't it pass through 30 meters, 20 meters, right? Photosynthesis can be there. Can it not grow some plants here? Underwater, plants के पीछे पीछे fishes आता है. Fishes के पीछे पीछे बड़े fishes. Fishes के पीछे tortoise, turtles. Turtles के पीछे starfishes. And then you have big sharks. Though we do not have sharks, but shark-like species can be there. So, एक नया food chain which is started because of the coral reefs. And I think I have already shown you what are these coral reefs. हर कोई माउंटेन ना either it could be volcanic in nature or crustal folding in nature. Rajmahal traps जो है ना, they are volcanic in nature. Later on, the landform which is formed, it can be crushed. First, suppose volcano erupted and this landform formed. It could be a plain area. But later, I can also fold this, right? When I fold it, it becomes a mountain. So that means basaltic, जो भी volcano बाहर निकलता है ना, primary rock, which comes onto the earth, either it could be basaltic or granitic. ठीक है? So Rajmahal traps are primary rocks which are formed. Maybe initially it was a flat area, later it got turned into mountains. Eastern Ghats are also the same. Area of what? ठीक है, I'll tell you. He is asking the question, sir, why the Deccan plateaus are so big, why the Rajmahal is so less. See, when Indian plate was moving, India was moving, when it came under this volcano, this was for the first time the hotspot started to come out. The flow of the hotspot was slow and the speed of India was faster. The flow was slow and the speed of India was faster. As soon as it crossed this particular Rajmahal traps, the speed of India, somewhere here it was 20 centimeters per year, but later it got reduced to 6 centimeters per year. And the flow of this hotspot was very fast. ठीक है? That's why. वो बाद में बताता हूँ, अभी वेस्टर्न घाट्स नहीं बताया ना मैंने, फॉर्मेशन कैसे हुआ. ए प्लेट्यू कैन टर्न इनटू अ माउंटेन एज वेल. आप क्रश करो फ्रॉम आइदर साइड्स. I did not teach you now how did the Western Ghats form. I did not tell you how the Eastern Ghats formed. I am only talking about Deccan Plateau. ठीक है? Now you can connect Deccan Plateau with mountains. I don't mind. But I did not teach you Western Ghats, no. Then after I teach you Western Ghats, then we'll discuss that. So these are coral reefs. Coral reefs, there's sufficient amount of sunlight that can pass through, so you have a life forms. Sometimes these coral reefs, they get dead. Their skeletons will be of calcium carbonate, and that skeletons itself, upon that skeletons, they come out as an coral reefs. But these coral reefs can only be formed at a maximum depth of 200 meters. These coral, दो चीज होता है कोरल रीफ्स में, प्लांट्स भी होता है, एनिमल्स भी होता है. सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशनशिप है. सी हियर वन कोरल polyps, zooxanthellae. Now, coral reefs are a combination of two different set of species. One is a plant and other is an animal. ठीक है? They help each other to live. Now, what is a polyp? Polyp मतलब anything that cannot control the flow of the water. First, suppose polyps are small microorganisms which are present in the ocean. If the flow is in this direction, they go with the flow. They cannot fight the flow of the ocean. But there is a fish. If the oceanic water is moving in this direction, don't you think the fish can move in opposite? So that is the fundamental difference between the fish and a polyp. Polyp cannot control the flow of the water, but fishes can control its own self against the flow. So these are called coral polyps. So zooxanthellae is an animal. E is a plant. ये दोनों मिलकर बनता है कोरल रीफ. One gives the if this is a plant. प्लांट का काम क्या है? फोटोसिंथेसिस करना. फोटोसिंथेसिस करके फूड देता है, and it eats it and it gives the shelter to this plant. In total, this is a symbiotic relationship. So this becomes a coral reef. Coral reef, when it is dead, it is a skeleton. It is made up of a calcium carbonate that gets deposited. Upon that skeleton, new coral reefs form. Now when they die, new set of coral reefs. When they die, likewise the height of the coral reefs increase always. Now they can only survive up till a depth of maximum of 200 meters. Beyond that they cannot. If the temperature is also extremely high, they cannot survive, right? वाटर सरफेस के ऊपर भी सर्वाइव हो सकते हैं, ठीक है. कोल्ड वाटर में रीफ्स नहीं बनता है, ओनली इन वार्म वाटर दे आर सर्वाइविंग. Corals are present in both waters, but coral reefs, remember this very carefully, coral reefs are only present in warm tropical areas. Warm in the sense not more than the temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. By comparatively this is warmer water. ठीक है. Polar regions there are no coral reefs. Okay, come back. कन्वेक्शनल सेल्स मूवमेंट, रेडियो एक्टिविटी एक जगह ज्यादा हो या एक जगह कम हो. यस यस यस, आई हैव taught you about the mantle convectional cells. Shaurya is asking me a question, sir. Why is that the speed variation is there in the Indian plate? You already know why the speed variations are there. It is because of radioactive material that is present in the interior of the earth, which I taught you in geomorphology. If too much of radioactivity is there, obviously you'll have movement of plate very faster. Chalo, let's come back. Now you already got to know how the formation of Lakshadweep islands, matlab this is the base of the island, this is the base. On this base you will get to see the formation of coral reefs. Now all the Lakshadweep islands, they are coral in nature. Some of them are above the surface, so people started to construct their houses. Some of them are below the water. Now, out of most of the islands, near about 39 islands, they are not habitable. आज तक इंसान उस island पे never lived there. So we don't know what kind of species can be there. Are they harmful to us? Are they not harmful to us? Come back. Now let's go to the Deccan Plateau. See, Deccan Plateau में issue क्या है? Imagine this is Indian plate and this is a volcano, hotspot. When the first time the hotspot formed, don't you think the hotspot can move till larger distances? This is how the flow of the volcanic material started on either sides. Right? Next, after few hundreds of years, what happened is that the volcano got this part of the area, maybe for 20-30 meters, the soil that is formed, the rocks that are formed. Now the volcano which is coming, it has to fight a solidified rock and puncture that and then come back. So the second set of volcano, it has to puncture, right? After puncturing here, the next set of maybe for another 100 years, the volcano started to pour. Right? Clear? Again, after few hundreds of years, the volcano is still active, but it has to fight a larger depth of the continent. So again, the volcano was active. So the formations are still active here. Right? Next. Likewise, multiple layers of volcano you will get to see. Clear? Finally, if you look into the Deccan Plateau, your Deccan Plateau looks like this. So this is how your Deccan Plateau looks. I'm showing you the cross-sectional view. Just go back and look into this map. How big is your Deccan Plateau? Isn't it very big? This is the size of a plateau. Now let me take this plateau and put it into the cross-sectional view. Right? Cross-sectional view समझ गया ना? Imagine this is the size of the plateau. I've taken this plateau and converted and I'm showing you here. Your plateau looks like a stepped pattern. That means आपका जो plateau है ना ऐसा दिखता है. ऊपर flat है और फिर look इधर भी फ्लैट है, फ्लैट है, फ्लैट लैंड मास, फ्लैट लैंड मास, फ्लैट लैंड मास, अगेन फ्लैट लैंड मास, फ्लैट लैंड मास, flat land mass. Like this becomes your Deccan Plateau. Right? So on this Deccan Plateau, if suppose, where does the river flow always? The river flows, see your river will be present at lower height. What is the height here? This might be 500 meters, 600 meters also. Your river will flow at this depth. Imagine this is 0, this is 100 meters, this is 700 meters. Height. If the river is flowing at 100 meters or so, and you are living somewhere here, 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 these are your settlements. Now imagine that length of this is 50 kilometers. The length of this is 50. This is also 50 kilometers. This is 100, 150. Like that, you started to settle, all the human population like to settle here like this. Right? Try to understand this cross-sectional view. If suppose a person who is doing agriculture here in his farm, where will the person get water from? Lift. Currently, let's go to 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. Okay? Where there was not much of technology that was available to us. The water that you generally take up is river water. Imagine this is your river. Okay? Now, this river water, this person can drill a bore, dig a bore, and he can utilize it maybe by canal. How about this? Even if you are digging a canal, the canal is against the gravity, no? It is above the river level. Now, what about this people, this people, this people? The largest sections of the population, if you broadly look into, they are present beyond this height. This is where most of the populations are. So much of this area, you again look into your atlas, there are some beautiful rivers that they go through. There is a river called Godavari. You have Krishna. Okay? To an extent, Kaveri also goes through this. पेन से मार्क कर दो, एटलस में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Your atlas will look little beautiful. Did you find the river? Is it not going through the plateau? अब इशू क्या है ना, देखो, you found this is Godavari river, this is Krishna river, this is Kaveri river, and some Tungabhadra river also will be there. Here Tunga and Bhadra. Like that, look at this. If I am drawing these lines, these are many rivers which are present in this area, with small rivers, and all of these rivers, they originate on the Western Ghats. So they keep on flowing. Now try to understand how these rivers are flowing. Imagine this is a plateau and this is also a plateau. Your river flows at this height. Here people are living somewhere around 800 meters, 8 or 900 meters, and the river is present at 100 meters. Now the length of the plateau, Maharashtra se lekar Karnataka tak, very big plateau. How is that someone who is doing agriculture here, they are able to get water? That was the biggest problem that was there with us until 2014. Until 2014, only those farmers who used to live next to this particular area, they are rich farmers. But here poor farmer, they have to rely upon what? Rainwater. And Kakatiya ka बारे में सुना है आप लोग? Ever heard of Kakatiya? What are they famous for? Anyone? Kakatiyas. They are famous for what? They are famous for constructing tanks. Tanks matlab these things. So these are called tanks. You go to Telangana or Maharashtra or any of the regions where there is a plateau, you'll find at least one for 5 to 6 villages. What do is they store the water which is coming from the rain. So Kakatiyas, in the history you'll learn, they are very, very famous for the construction of the tanks, because they know that the landmass which is there, it is basalt, it is very good rocks. In that rocks, water can be stored. So wherever you go, I randomly pick up any area. You'll find a tank in that area. If this is a village, near to a village, you'll definitely find a tank in the Kakatiya areas. If this is Telangana or this is all water. Settlements, tank, water. Okay. Likewise, you have these kind of settlements and tanks everywhere. So if one city is there, next to that city, you'll definitely have multiple tanks with them. So that is how the survival of this plateau region takes place. This is a dam, of course. But small tanks which were built during the historical times, later on they converted these kind of small areas into dams in the current time period. Okay? That is the historical understanding that the governments in that part of the region took. There is also a mission by the name Mission Kakatiya. उनका मेजर काम यही है, उस टाइम पे जो टैंक्स खोदा है, or they have dug, they wanted to revive it back and built. But come back, to beat this problem, only those people who are near to here, the rich farmers became, and rest of them, they relied upon the tanks and irrigations. It is also the case in Maharashtra, Telangana, and the Rayalaseema area or Karnataka area. So that's why they are not having good education system, good irrigation system. Even you come to the modern context में आपको ये पता चलेगा that this part of the area was actually under the control of, British. This part of the area during the time of independence was under the control of Nizam. Those areas which were under the control of the Nizam never had education. Schooling was also in the Urdu medium. The education system was different, but this part of the area, as it was under the British, all the rich people who were there, educated, British ko jo taxes pay karte, they always had the benefit. And here, as soon as the independence is gone, now this part of the area became a poorer area. Why? One, farmer के पास पानी है which is going, but he cannot utilize. Not every farmer will have the technology to go and drill a bore. I don't think even in the modern times, the farmer who is there, ask your parents who have a relationship with agriculture, how many farmers are today having a bore well in their farms? पंजाब में तो पूरे है. They are the rich farmers. ठीक है? Poor farmers 2%. ठीक है? They go for digging wells. For them it was easy. Even today, for drilling a bore it costs more than 1.5 lakh, 1 to 2 lakh. They cannot afford. A farmer earns hardly in 1 acre, he earns 20,000 rupees. So for means only big farmers and rich farmers can go, and all the rich farmers, they dig the bore wells. So the rich farmers became richer and the poor farmers became the poorer. Now today, the government of Telangana, what did they do is, in the year 2014, they came up with, not just government of Telangana and all the areas, the tank irrigation system they converted into a irrigation system with canals. What did they do? They pumped the water from here to here, they constructed a dam. From here, they pumped the water, they constructed canals, and they constructed a dam. Again from here, they pumped the water, dams and canals. Pump, dams and canals. And this pumping is called as, and this lift irrigation name is Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project, right? So this Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project is a very phenomenal project. The water that was going wastage into the, see there's so much of water, look here, the availability of the water is very high in this part of the area. They are simply going into the ocean. That means much of the water is going into the ocean that is not being utilized even before it is gone. So that's why the lift irrigation is built in this part of the area. They used to lift, literally lifting means lifting. Okay? A desert area, a barren area, they used to build pumps and they pump the water like bore wells. Imagine the bore well at your submersible is of this small size. The bore well of this particular project will be as triple the size of this classroom. That is the size of the bore well, and they used to dig. So what did they do is they built some canals, lift irrigation canals. Kahan jata hai? They will be of this sort. Yes? Just a minute. Yes, now ask me. No, bore wells, it may not create that big problem. Okay, bore wells are less, but zarur groundwater problem ko it can accentuate. If you're going for lakhs and lakhs of bores, then it will be a problem, structure. Can happen. But borewell is a small hole. These are different, I'll explain. Can you see this? These are dug underground almost 1 kilometer deep inside the earth. They fill this area with water. These are pumps and underground lakes. That pump, what does it do is, it will pump the water like this. See, it seems to be a big reservoir, right? In fact, this reservoir is filled by pumps at a higher height. From there, through gravity, the water comes down. Okay? Like this, what they did was, first, the water is pumped to this height. They constructed dams here, stored water. And from here, I told you the length of this is 50 kilometers. They used a canal system. And through canals, they made to reach every area the water. No doubt, the cost of electricity is very high, but the total amount of new land which is under cultivation is 1 lakh crore. Okay? 1 lakh crore acres. Almost, such is the largest amount of land which now came under the irrigation. With this, what are the possibilities that we have? Food security. Today, these particular states are exporting rice to foreign at the same rate. When water comes, irrigation comes, forest will be flourished, vegetation will be flourished, birds will be back, environment will be flourished. In totality, economy will be flourished. That's why ease of doing business and as well as the highest growing state in India is these states. 20% is the growth rate. Which other state is having 20% GDP growth rate every year? No other state can have. It is these couple of states that they have built on this project, but no doubt, yes. Recently what happened is that the constructions that were made on the river by the name Medigatta. See, Medigatta is a project which is built on one of these rivers. Okay? So here, the project which is built on the Medigatta, they have constructed a dam here and they stopped the water. This project sunk. That means this project failed. So if this project failed, just imagine, if suppose this is Medigatta, or else this is Medigatta. If this project failed, the dam that they constructed got sank. Now, if the dam is sank here, 50-60 kilometers of area, it is under threat. Now they stopped pumping water. So if this is stopped, don't you think that these areas will they get water? No, because the water need to go through, right? So this is why this particular point becomes important. The Current affairs में examiner can ask you, Medigatta project is on which river? Match the following. They'll give you another Bangalore water crisis. सुना होगा आपने? How many of you have heard it? Everyone thinks that Kaveri river, Bangalore is not getting water. Now that Bengaluru is located on which river? It's not on the river. Kaveri water is being pumped 50 kilometers and then they wanted to give. The population of Bengaluru increased. Increased to what? Multifold increase. मतलब इतना ज़्यादा पानी कहाँ से लेके आएंगे? For example, in Chandigarh, just imagine the municipal corporation is giving you a permission to construct 3 more floors above your house. सब लोग आसपास की लोगों, everyone comes here, car parking will have a problem. Then resources, पानी कहाँ से आएंगे? चंडीगढ़ में तो submersible boaters are not allowed. Then where will you get the water? Where will you get the transportation? Metro they are going to construct, but करते करते 10 साल लगेगा. So just imagine, these are governmental problems. They will not let the construction happen. So imagine if this project has a problem, the entire economy will have a problem. So that's why UPSC will go and have a beautiful eye on this. चलो मैं इसके बारे में पूछता हूँ. Right? This is what it can be this is what it can be asked. Now, how the Deccan Plateau formed and why is it called a Deccan trap? It is because the shape of the plateau is like this. This particular rock got trapped here. The shape of the plateau will be of this. Right? This is the shape, no? So, pumping of water, yes, it can hamper. No, impact in the sense, his question is that, sir, what about the marine life that is there? In fact, you will see new kind of marine lives being coming in. क्योंकि पहले जहाँ पे पानी नहीं है, now water is coming. So fishes will also get pumped along with the water to another area. So evolve होता है. Maybe new species can be seen. Right? Birds will be back and economy will be flourished. Now these are called as larger than the life size projects. Right? So that is the issues of the Deccan Plateau. और यहाँ पे minerals भी होता है. This is Deccan. Deccan means, don't you think this entire area is made up of rocks? How many years back it was formed? It was formed near about, not 250, it is around 100 million years to 150 million years back. Right? 250 million years, India started its journey. Now, in this area, उसके बाद देखो छोटे मोटे changes तो होते रहते हैं. Right? Humans, when they start to live, won't they change the topography? They'll definitely change the topography. Changing of the topography means, here you go and live. You dig bore wells. You go and live. You do agriculture. Birds come. Sun is there. Sometimes it is raining. Sometimes it is flooding. So flooding can take place in this part of the area also. Don't just think that this size of the area, I'm trying to explain you 50, 60 kilometers area, 100 kilometers area. So like this, some minor changes can happen on the major surface area, but the rock structure is this. अब इस rock structure में, you can ask me, sir, where is water present? Just imagine if you can have a small holes of this sort. Chalo, let's imagine that these are small holes which are formed. Sometimes the rock is not fully formed. Now these small holes where the water tends to store is called as aquifers. So imagine that Anirudh wants to live here. ठीक है? Anirudh thought that चलो मेरे पास पैसा आ गया and I want to dig a borewell and get water to my farm field. Anirudh decided that he wants to dig a borewell. So without any expertise, what did Anirudh do is Anirudh start to dig a borewell like this. Anirudh dug for 1,000 feet. He's not able to find water. ठीक है? Next he took a borewell. Again, without any expertise, again he started to dig a borewell like this. no water, right? So usually the failure of the borewells in the Deccan Trap is very high. Why? Because you will get water only when you are reaching this aquifer. Sometimes you might come across these kind of saying that अरे यार मेरे को 30 फीट में ही पानी मिल गया, कोई और कहते हैं मैं 500 फीट खोदा मेरे को पानी नहीं मिला. Why? Because you are not reaching the aquifer here, you are reaching somewhere else. Now first you need to go for a geological testing, not by the modern babas who are there. They come with a coconut and they shake the coconut and tell that yahan pe pani hai. This is not right. Yes, you have to go and consult the geology department. They'll come with equipments. They have the technology where they can identify will they have the water beneath. Now, don't just think that we have put a dot. This dot could be as big as the size of few sectors. Such large lakes inside it can be, right? So this is what is groundwater table, groundwater recharge. This is what we call. Obviously आएगा. So when you start to extract more and more water, sometimes your land subsides. Local level subsidence will be there. So it is always advisable while you are digging bore wells, you have to go for geology department consultations, not the Baba consultations. Right? So this is the life of the Deccan Plateau. Now quickly, we'll also learn about the formation of desert. It only takes 5-10 minutes, no doubts. Until then, slow. I hope everyone is able to understand this. समझ में आ रहा है? Yes? See, this is the size of India. Just simple mathematical calculations that we'll be doing. There's no geography here. I'll try to explain the formations of deserts. The size of India was bigger. Okay? And when India went and collided with, imagine, India started its journey like this. After a few million years, India was somewhere here. Okay? Now, after a few million years, when India came here, India went and collided with Eurasia. When both of them are collided, did I not tell you in the previous classes that 40% of the land mass of India, where is it? It is beneath the Eurasian plate. So that 30 to 40% of the total size of India which was there, earlier the size of India was so big. Now this India, when it went and collided with Eurasia, 30 to 35% to 40% of the land mass is beneath. It's not going and subducting into the mantle, but it is went and it struck like this. Right? Now this is how. Now what happened to the size of India? Shrink हुआ. ठीक है? Are you clear with this? So, this is your ocean. Right? In this ocean, I have a rock. Just imagine, in this ocean I have a rock whose size got shrank. Earlier the size was bigger. Right? So, for some reasons, when India was present at few places in the Deccan area, what happened was the water came into these part of the areas. Or else, when India went and started to struck with these plates, there are some changes that are happening over India. If suppose this is India, it is continuously getting struck. Don't you think folding will happen? Size is getting changed. So at this point of time, what happened was, majority of India which was there, it was under the influence of marine transgression. Now what do you mean by marine transgression? The water started to enter these areas for reasons which we do not know, even the scientific community do not know. This is how the water was present. Now this entire area is covered with water. So this was the ocean that was present on India. Right? Why it came? It has a very deep connections with the upliftment of the mountains in the ocean. you have to go back to oceanography. सबको याद है oceanography? So those of you who are sitting new into this classroom, you may not understand this. Look at this map very carefully. Imagine this entire area is a plain area. There were no mountains. Okay? And if the water is at an X level, if you are adding mountains in the ocean, what happens to the water? ऊपर आएगा. सबको ये logic समझ में? Any doubt here? See, there was a point of time when India was present where? See, this is the ocean. So those of you who are new here, don't mind. You may not understand this. So this India was somewhere present here. That means all these mountains were not there. They were not present. That means as soon as the mountains beneath the oceans, these are mountains beneath the oceans, they are formed because of the middle oceanic ridges, which we have learnt already. I think everyone has this idea. Right? इसमें क्लैरिटी है. अब नया नया पत्थर आ रहा है एक बेसिन में, तो इंडिया विच इज प्रेजेंट हियर, डोंट यू थिंक वाटर विल कम इनटू इंडिया? This is what happened. As the addition of these mountains beneath the oceans has led the movement of water. See, the movement of water came here. Here, जितने भी पानी है ना, ये पानी इधर आ गया. जैसे ही मैं माउंटेन ऐड किया, sea level rise, water came inside. I'll add mountains all over the ocean, the sea level came into inside. Majority of the ocean was there. Some majority of India, in the northern part of India, is covered with ocean water. Again, little time later, when India started to come back, see, understand this very carefully. Look, पानी आ गया, मान के चलो. उसके बाद India went and struck with the Eurasia. What happened to the size of the landform? डिक्रीज हो रहा है. तो ओशन का सरफेस एरिया क्या हुआ? राइट? फिर ओशन का सरफेस एरिया इंक्रीज हुआ तो पानी सब वापस जाएगा कि नहीं? लुक हियर, अर्लियर वाटर केम, वाटर एंटर्ड इनटू दीज एरियाज. व्हाई दे एंटर्ड? बिकॉज मिडिल ओशनिक ridges formed. ठीक है. बट इफ आई एम गोइंग टू reduce the size of India, the ocean got more space, no? The water will move back. This is what was happening with India. In fact, the movement of water into the India is called as marine transgression. And the movement of water back from India, this is called as now. Why this marine transgression happened? Because right? Why this marine regression happened? किसी को डाउट है यहां पर? प्लीज आस्क मी, बिकॉज दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट. समटाइम्स एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन कैन डायरेक्टली बी आस्क्ड, व्हाट इज मैराइन ट्रांसग्रेशन, व्हाट इज मैराइन रिग्रेशन. हाँ, सारा पानी वापस चले गया. अब ये पानी कहां कहां पर था? वेयर वॉज दिस वाटर प्रेजेंट? दिस वाटर वॉज प्रेजेंट. कैन आई रब दिस? इफ यू वांट टू टेक फोटो और वॉट एवर, प्लीज क्विकली. ओके. So that means marine transgression is water came in. Like कुछ नहीं यार, बचपन में खेलते हैं ना. If suppose this is a crow, right? Kawwa आया and it started to throw some stones. When it is starting to throw some stones, what happens? The water level will rise and they flow out, right? Yes. So what kawwa aaya and it has put. So the same thing, instead of kawwa, it is the oceanic sea surface where middle oceanic ridges started to add stones into this. Because of this, the water came inside. Now this is called as marine transgression. The same thing you have to write in geographical terms. That is, the middle oceanic ridges resulted in the rise of the mountains in the southern part of the Indian Ocean, because of which the volume of the surface area of the Indian Ocean got reduced and the volume of the water was the same, such that the water entered into the areas of Rajasthan area, Uttar Pradesh area, Assam area, right? These are the areas. Now, the entrenchment of the water into the continental areas of the ocean water is called as marine transgression. As the Indian plate went and collided with Eurasian plate, some part of the Indian plate was beneath the Eurasian plate, because of which the size of the Indian plate got shrunk and the formation of the Himalayas took place. Because of which the ocean now has a larger surface area and the same water receded back, and this is called as marine regression. अब ये कितने टाइम में हुआ? मेराइन ट्रांसग्रेशन और रिग्रेशन के बीच में, बिटवीन मेराइन ट्रांसग्रेशन एंड रिग्रेशन, द टाइम गैप वाज नियर अबाउट millions of years. How many millions? 5, 6, 7, 8 million years. Now for 5, 6, 7, 8 million years in entire Chandigarh, if there is ocean water, what happens to the plants, animals? Chalo, let's put some human beings also under it. What happens? सब crude oil बनता है, ठीक है? Now all over the world, the crude oil, the fossil fuels, the oil, petrol, natural gas can only be found beneath the oceans. ठीक है? एक चीज ध्यान रखना, minerals topic when we study, you should be in a position to understand that crude oil can only be found beneath the oceanic area. मतलब some part of their lifetime, that area should have been covered with ocean water. So today you go and look into the oil rich regions. Where is the oil found in India? Reliance अंबानी का कहां पर है? जामनगर, राजस्थान, ठीक है? दिस इज अ डेजर्ट एरिया, क्योंकि नमक का पानी वहां पर है और यहां पे बारिश नहीं होता. एंड देन यू हैव डिगबॉय असम, मुंबई हाई, ट्रॉम्बे, कैम्बे. व्हाट इज दिस? गोदावरी एरिया. केजी बेसिन कहां जाते हैं? जहां कृष्णा रिवर और गोदावरी रिवर है, यहां पर. सो ऑल दिस एरियाज वर मेराइन ट्रांसग्रेशन एरिया. अरे कहां से उत्तर प्रदेश में तेल मिलता है यार? मतलब there is no concept of oil until and unless if the water do not enter into that continental area. And same thing, I've already told you. Look at this. This is a continent, right? This part of the area is a continent. Can you see the color difference? What is this called? Continental shelf. Oil मिलता है ना? दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा ऑयल कहां मिलता है? Why? डेप्थ क्या है? डेप्थ इज नॉट मोर देन 30 meters to 50 meters. अब खुद भी, मतलब विथ स्मॉल इक्विपमेंट्स यू कैन गो एंड ड्रिल एंड डिग. दैट्स व्हाई एवरीवन हु इज देयर, दे डिग लिटरली. आपके घर में खेती होता है ना, यहां पे उनकी घर के आसपास का कुआं होता है तेल का, ठीक है? इफ यू हैव फ्रेंड्स एंड फेलोज, हैव अ टाई अप, इंपोर्ट ऑयल, सेल समवेयर एल्स. You may not be sitting in this classroom if you have this business. ठीक है? It gives you what you could have, what you can make in the lifetime of your service. You'll make it in just 2 years. Right? Okay. यूपी में है कुछ कुछ एरियाज में. नाउ होमवर्क फॉर यू इज, where do we get oil in India? Just this is the homework. Or if you have the atlas, also you can open. वहाँ पे एक अलग से map दिया होगा. There's a separate map. You can look into that. Go home and look into oil regions in India. ना first. Yes. Now, just imagine one thing I wanted to tell you fundamentally. If suppose Himalayas have formed, did they form in 1 year? How much time it took? Millions, 60 million years. Okay. How old are we going to stay? 100 maximum, 110, 120. Now, imagine a million means what? 10 lakhs. That means thousands and thousands of generations that are there, they have to withstand. For example, formation of Aravallis did not just happen in 1 or 2 years. It was a continuous process of evolution. Now, whatever Shaurya said is right. He says that, sir, ek time pe Aravallis jab ban raha tha, Aravallis are present in Rajasthan, this part of the area. There was a time period where this entire area was fresh, forest was there. But rainfall was there. I am talking about few millions of years. Here, as soon as the marine transgression happened, all this forest was covered with ocean water. And this water turned out to be, the land turned out to be saline. The trees, forest, species, whatever is there, they got submerged and they converted into oil. And today, the Aravallis are standing here, tall. They will not let the rain to go this side, because of which it became dry. Else, Aravallis are considered to be very fertile lands. You become an IAS or you head the policy decision of the Desert Development Plan of India and himmat karo, ek aisa pipeline banayenge in the Rajasthan area, and from here you'll give drip irrigation to the entire region. Within 30 years in your lifetime, you will see a forest here. These are one of the finest lands which are there in India. Abhi desert hai, deserts ko 30 to 40 years you irrigate, they will become the finest lands or even better lands than the alluvial soils. It's just that India ke paas paisa nahi hai. No country has such large amounts of money. China is doing it, UAE is doing it. ठीक है? This is how you can change the life of that part of the region. So high employment badega, but there are also environmental consequences. Such kind of projects, if you're taking in, United Nations comes and try to stop you. United Nations comes and stop you because environment. You're going to change environment. You might stop monsoon. You might change the entire topography there. So Pakistan may not be happy with this. ठीक है? See, it's not that diplomacy channels open up when you are doing all of these things. For example, there was a plan by China. It was a vague plan which was proposed to India, not now. 1980s ki time period pe, when Chinese economy was growing at a full large scale, a scientist came up with a proposal saying that let's blast all the Himalayas with the nukes so that the monsoon winds will come to China. ठीक है? This is what China decided, that China wants to level up the Himalayas. India went and raised an opposition. मतलब आपको ऐसा thoughts, this kind of thoughts you should not come. Why? Our rainfall will go there, right? And their cold weather system during the winters, it will come here. Are you okay with that? Snow can be found in this northern plains also, if Himalayas are not there. Yes, everything will change. So, everything will change. All the concepts that you have learned, system hi badal jayega. So, these kind of projects when you are taking, global consensus are also required. So, there is a project, aaj ghar jaake padh lena, interlinking of rivers project. What is interlinking of rivers? I know कंटेंट ज्यादा हो गया क्या? मेहर विल टेल अस. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं ये बताओ. और प्लीज गो एंड रीड नाउ द चैप्टर 1 and 2. कल 3 भी पढ़ लेना ऑफ दिस चैप्टर, दिस बुक. चैप्टर 1, चैप्टर 2, चैप्टर 3. ठीक है? And those of you who are new here, get your atlas for the next class. Yes. Thank you online. See you tomorrow. Hemavati, our online student, says that, sir, in Tamil Nadu, people dig bore wells up to 400, 500 feet. Yes. Thank you online. And as usual, any doubts?